Hello, Todd Clemens, Okeechobee Livestock Market, and here's your weekly market report. Thank you, brother, for filling in last week. Jeff did a good job with that market report. Of course, all market reports these days should be easy to give because it seems like every week it gets higher and higher. That's what happens at livestock markets. We find out what cattle are worth, and that's what we do. We're very fortunate, the cattle producers in Okeechobee, to have a livestock market right at our disposal. You think about the people that don't have a market in their town, they have to drive a long way, their cattle shrink, it's just a lot of wear and tear on equipment and people and hours on the road and all that stuff. So having a livestock market in your hometown is pretty handy. And I wouldn't know any different because I've lived here all my life and we've always had a livestock market, so I kind of take that for granted. But let's don't take our livestock markets in the state of Florida or anywhere in the whole country for granted, because every week, every sale we have, we're finding out the value of what something's worth when cattle come through the ring. And we don't necessarily know, and we may have a good idea of what something's worth, but until it steps on that ring and you get 2 or 3 people bidding on it, you don't have a clue really what it's worth. For instance, last week we had a internet sale on producers there Thursday, and it was some weaned yearlings, really good cattle up there in the 6 weight range, and they sold really good, man. It was a great sale. And then we come back here Monday and Tuesday, just a few days later, and have another sale, and those cattle, I'll bet you the same class of cattle that came through the ring Monday and Tuesday brought as much or maybe even more than the cattle did on Thursday. But that's the market and that's the conditions of the market. But not only do we find price discovery on animals, and we do that all across the country, but our information, the market reports are put together, put on a website there on the USDA Market News Service. That information is gathered up from all over the country, and it helps buyers and sellers both try to figure out what's going on in the marketplace. And it's good information, and that's about all you have to go on until some of these buyers get phone calls from buyers that are grazers or stockers that are looking for cattle out in the West, Midwest, or wherever, looking for cattle for grass. They get phone calls, and the man will tell them to buy a certain kind of a animal and to give whatever it takes to buy them because he needs them, or he gives him a limit as to what kind of price not to go over. But those buyers every week get these phone calls, and that's kind of where they put their little plans together for these sales. So it's very important that we keep competition in the marketplace. Now, there's only 7 of us left in the state of Florida, and it's gone down. We've talked about this before. Back in the day, there were 20 some odd markets. There were 2 million head of cattle back in those days too, I guess, but now we're down to under 1 million head, and it's come down to 7 markets, and we're able to handle probably about half of the cattle that are sold. But of the half of the cattle in the state that are sold through the markets, it still represents probably every producer at one point or another during the course of the year uses livestock markets. So that's what we do. We gather around, information is gathered from us being livestock markets, not only here in Okeechobee, but I'm talking about everywhere. So it's very, very vital to the cattle industry how important markets are to cattle producers. So let's keep that in mind. And that being said, we appreciate everything that you send, and all the markets appreciate your business. Let's send some of those better #1 calves in here, and let's see what they do. Let's keep the buyers, giving them good supply with good quality cattle, not just the cuts or the leftovers. Let's send some good cattle into the market, and let's see how good they sell. I'll bet you they sell as good as they will anywhere possible. So just keep that in mind. So that's what we're doing. And again, this week prices were, if you can believe it, it just seemed to me it was even higher than last week. We saw some little old calves weighing in the 4-weight range. Shoot, they were bringing over $1,500 on the steers. The heifers are still way back behind the steers. They're probably 60 or 70 cents below what the steer prices are, but still bringing a lot of money. And we had a good bit of those calves weighing there in the 4-weight range from a couple different places. Some of those cattle were bringing on the steers $1,500 or $1,600. Slaughter cows and bulls are still higher, if you can believe that. So, you know, it's good and everybody's real happy when they pick their checks up, but it's a little bit scary when things go up so fast, because it's kind of just, you know, it's going up so fast it won't take much for it to fall down or fall off, and it just can't keep going every week higher and higher. The packers are slowing down their chain speeds, and I don't know how they can manage, or if they sit around the coffee table and get together and figure out what they're going to do, but they're only killing 4 days or 4.5 days out of the week, and they're really managing their output, and they're managing what meat, or the volume of meat that's going to the retail stores. They're filling their orders. Boxed beef prices are probably at an all-time high. The prime or choice cuts are over $3 or $300 per hundred. 305 is the last I saw. That was yesterday. And then the select cuts are not that far behind the choice cuts. They're probably in the high 290s, 295 or 6 for the select. And that's most of what we get when we go to the grocery store. We don't get those choice cuts, and if it is choice, it's probably going to be labeled that way, and it may even be labeled, it could be labeled that it's from born, raised, and harvested in the USA. There are products that are labeled that way, and that's the only way you're going to know that they are from the USA. Other packages that say product of the USA could come from anywhere. And on that note, there's still cattle being imported from Paraguay, or meat coming in from Paraguay. There's more attention on that, and some outfits trying to get them to, what are we doing? Taking meat in from countries that have had and have hoof-mouth disease, and it's contagious. We don't want it in the country. It would be detrimental to our industry. So let's put a stop to that. We all need to be informed, and we need to read. There's so much information out there that we don't need to just don't take my word for it. Don't take anybody's word for it. Do your own due diligence and be sure that what's happening, the bills that are put forth in Congress, the legislation that's going on, that it is actually helping the cattle producer, the landowners, the cattle producers. So let's all do our part and stay informed of the issues. From time to time, we'll keep you informed of what's going on. And if you have any questions about it, don't hesitate to comment on our reports. Send us a line, give us a call, and we'll try to help you figure out, or let you know what our view of it is anyways. You know, and you can take that for what it's worth. But the market's still going up, and it's really good. Numbers are going down. It's getting into the time of year where we're just seeing new crop, young calves coming off of heifers now, and tail end yearlings from last year that somebody might have weaned or held over, couldn't catch last year, and they finally got around to it because they're worth so much money. So we're just seeing odds and ends, and numbers have come down. We had 750 Monday and 800 almost Tuesday, and I would expect that would be the case from now for the next couple months. So if you want to get them in here early, because the sales will be getting over around 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. March, this is big, a lot of stuff going on this week. Rodeo this weekend. Don't forget to set your clocks forward Saturday night, daylight savings time. So Saturday night, move your clocks forward. Don't be late to the rodeo. It starts at 2 o'clock on Saturday and Sunday, 2 o'clock, Saturday and Sunday, not Tuesday. That's when you want to be at Okeechobee Livestock Market. So, high prices. Yeah, we did have high prices. Every week we have somebody's got to be the high price. So this week, believe it or not, Richard Guthrie of Okeechobee topped the calf market with a 255-pound calf that brought, get this, $4.60. And that calf was bought by Cracker Land and Cattle. And on the slaughter cow side, Rocking G Ranch, right there in Lake Placid, just west of us, had a big old cow that weighed 1,515 pounds. She brought $1.52. That cow was bought by FPL. That's your market report. Thank you. See you next week.